Honorable members, I want to welcome you to this morning's sitting.
On Tuesday, 16th May 2023, the Speaker, Anita Among, asked government to speed up the introduction of the Salaries Review Commission and asked government to regulate interest rates in the market to cushion citizens against exorbitant charges on loans. This follows the brutal killing of Uttam Bhandari, a city moneylender, by a police officer, Ivan Wabwire.
Madam Speaker, with your indulgence, we pray that the Minister of Internal Affairs comes here and gives us a comprehensive statement on what exactly is happening.
It's an offense to drive while you've taken alcohol. Are there some rules that we take the police officers or people who handle guns for routine checkup, mental checkup?
In this parliament, I remember there was a time we had an investigation on the circle for the police. We know there is a lot of mess in that circle. I don't know how far we went in terms of that circle being streamlined, because ordinarily the police should be served by that circle.
We had an investigation on the exodus, and maybe we need to hear from government what they have done. We need to regulate the interest rates, the exorbitant interest rates. And you cannot regulate if you're using your own circle. But UBRA should come in and regulate these interest rates. Because you find these money sharks are giving money at a very high interest rate. And government, we talked about the Salary Review Commission. How far have you gone?
In the sitting, the Speaker, Anita Among, guided the Attorney General, Honorable Kiryowa Kiwanuka, to reintroduce the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Bill 2016, following its annulment by the Constitutional Court on 5th May 2023 due to lack of quorum.
Clearly, the government and the executive are interested in this bill. Arrangements are being made to reintroduce this bill at the appropriate time before the House. In the meantime, like you said, the matter is any cases of drugs are being handled under existing law, and we do not have a real gap at this point other than the issue of the extent of the penalty.
From the time the president assented to this bill, I have been pushing internal affairs, the ministers, to have the regulations so that this particular law can be, operationalized. There have not been any regulations for the last 7 years since this bill was passed.
The challenge we've been having, learned Attorney General, is that courts make pronouncements on pieces of legislation and you keep quiet. I'll give an example. The Muhanga Chivumbi case is here. For the last 12 years, you were quiet. So when courts make pronouncements, and some of us who have interest in this matter come on the floor, we do it in good faith, but also because of history.
It is upon us to ensure that we have a law processed in this House to replace what was annulled in the House.
Also in the sitting, the Attorney General revealed that government will challenge the interim orders exempting payment of taxes on gold exports, following concerns on a waiver issued by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development that slashed the taxes to 43 billion shillings from 616 billion shillings.
The people who are objecting to paying of tax even when they are committed went to court and even obtained interim orders. Will the Land Attorney General inform this House and the country the steps he has taken to vacate these interim orders?
We are appearing in court to pursue the government position. An interim order does not take away the tax obligation. It just stays that obligation for that time.
I'm also aware that the statutory instrument upon which we are supposed to pay these taxes expires now in the next 30 days or thereabout. And no steps are being taken to have the taxes paid.
The moment the tax has been set, the person who is obligated to pay the tax will be required to pay that tax. And even if a person defaults on paying that tax, there are procedures to be followed to pay the tax. And the recovery of the same must be undertaken by the tax authority.
Later, Parliament approved the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2023, which will enable the control of the speed limit through the express penalty scheme, where a person who fails to comply with the speed limit commits an offence and is liable, on conviction, to a fine not exceeding 2 million shillings or imprisonment not exceeding 3 years, or both.
Clause 3 proposes a penalty for non-compliance, failure to comply with the speed limit. And in the existing law under the Traffic and Road Safety Act, we do have penalties also provided.
Just to clarify, the one for the express penalty is where you concede the offense and you're given a penalty there and then. This one is where you go to trial, you oppose and you go to trial and you're found guilty through the process of trial.
Thank you.
The penalty is higher.
I put a question that the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Bill 2023 be read a third time and do pass. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Traffic and Road Safety Amendment Act 2023.
Bill passed and title settled.
In the sitting, Parliament gave the green light for a supplementary request of 4.4 trillion shillings to cover additional expenses in the 2021-2022 financial year.
The object of the bill is to provide for supplementary appropriation out of the consolidated fund under Article 156(3) of the Constitution and the Section 25 of Public Finance and Management Act, a sum of 4,416,786,490,000 shillings to meet additional expenditure for financial 2021-2022.
I put a question that the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2023 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023.
Bill passed and title settled.
On Wednesday, 17th May 2023, the Speaker, Anita Among, issued a directive to Uganda Wildlife Authority officials in Sebei sub-region to halt evictions of people living around Mount Elgon National Park.
Between 24th April and the 28th, the Uganda Wildlife Authority went and did illegal eviction between the boundary of Mount Elgon National Park. They even went ahead and started beating people, and as we talk now, I have almost 30 families who have no houses. These are people who were allowed to stay around the boundary by government. In 2005, after the forest was turned into the national park, they commuted themselves to government court. There is a consent judgment where government consented into their case that they would resettle them before they are evicted. The Attorney General and government should tell us the status of the consent judgment of the 2005.
Government, even if these people were encroaching, they don't deserve to be killed. They don't deserve to be displaced. Can we have the status quo maintained? Can you as government order these people not to evict anybody? And those people who have been evicted should be supported by OPM.
I'm calling Ministry of Tourism. We shall have our meeting in the Cabinet Library with all the area members of Parliament so that we can solve this and we see how it can be concluded. I thank you.
Also in the sitting, legislators asked government to demarcate all borders under dispute following an increase in tribal clashes among communities.
Some South Sudanese attacked Gobiri Trading Center, Embe, Linyamiro, and Etia in Igwere West Paris in Lefort Sub-County. They also went ahead and attacked Goboro, Fea, Fitinambaya, and Igborogoro in Ikot Sub-County in Yumbe District. The Ugandans retaliated by attacking the Kuku tribe in Igwere West in Moyo District, where 100 cows were driven away towards Yumbe and 20 houses were touched.
As we talk now, 2,000 people are displaced and being confined in a transit center called Goboro, are waiting for government intervention. Their properties are totally destroyed. The communities live in fear. There is no hope for people in that region. And this has emerged typically because the region has been crying for border demarcations.
These Kuku are basically in Uganda. The land that was given for training the Sudanese soldiers, they now own it as theirs. Why don't we open our borders so that our people know where they belong?
May the government expedite the demarcation of the border between Uganda and South Sudan. We need urgent relief items and food for the displaced people.
Food has to be taken to those people because it's one of the urgent issues that has to be handled. Then the demarcation of the land has to be speeded up so that there is demarcation. But some security issues, we cannot discuss them here because this is between Sudan and Uganda.
In London, in the Commonwealth Archives, any border issue that you think you have a dispute to be resolved, the details are there. The details are there. We got there maps dating back before independence and partitioning of Africa, but finally, all boundaries can be verified in London if we think what we have locally here is not what?
In the sitting, Parliament cautioned the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development over last-minute corrections to the budget as MPs inched closer to passing of the national budget.
In furtherance to Regulation 12 of the Public Finance Management Regulations, which operationalizes the Section 13 of the Public Finance Management Act, I hereby invoke Rule 25.1 of the Rules of Procedure of the Order Paper and accommodate the laying of the corrigenda for the budget estimates 2023-2024 financial year. And the corrigenda is basically to make revisions on the budget that has been laid.
Yesterday, you nearly allowed us to make a presentation, but we are not yet ready because the corrigenda was just a few days ago laid. Are they revising the other corrigenda? Are they bringing a fresh one? Do we still have a government, Madam Speaker, that they are going to be throwing documents at us every hour? Because for us as a budget committee, we feel, in fact, we are waiting, Madam, for an opportunity to present.
I also take note of the circumstances under which this agenda comes. Madam Speaker, we live in the world of continuous improvement, and I personally believe in continuous improvement. I promise that in future, we will do better than now.
We should always have everything that you want us to handle in time. But this should be the last time that you bring the corrigenda when we are 2 hours to supply.
It will be magical science for the committee to be able to meet the directive of preparing and consolidating a report today. So we request the House, Right Honorable Speaker, to allow us have the whole of today, interrogate and do the right casting of this and report tomorrow to this House.
On Thursday, 18th May 2023, Parliament passed the 2023-2024 national budget after a marathon sitting chaired by Speaker Anita Among that commenced at 8 a.m.
The total budget for next financial year amounts to Uganda shillings 52.737 trillion, up from Uganda shillings 50.912 trillion from the time I laid the proposed estimates for financial year 2023-2024 in Parliament and as detailed in the corrigenda.
The committee has assessed these compliance requirements like the date of submission, the date of laying the budget estimates. Right Honorable, the committee perused and found that a number of compliance issues under this Article 13 were complied, and found out that government, as per these submission requirements, had complied highly.
The committee therefore recommends that the figures as indicated per vote in the schedule to the bill should be replaced with the figures per vote as supplied by Parliament and contained in the resolution of Parliament dated 18th day of May 2023 as attached. In conclusion, the committee recommends that the Appropriation Bill 2023 be passed into law subject to their proposed amendments.
Madam Speaker, to thank you first of all, and then also thank the committee for the work they have done. Sometimes we over-complain, but we don't know what those people go through. But I want to say thank you.
Madam Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Appropriations Bill 2023 be read for the third time and do pass.
I put a question that the Appropriation Bill 2023 be read the third time and do pass. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act titled the Appropriation Act 2023.
The bill is passed and title settled. I therefore adjourn the House to 10 on Tuesday.